Good evening, America, and welcome to this Just the News, Real America's Voice special report on the ballot, Open Borders. I'm your host, John Solomon. Tonight, in partnership with our sponsor, Heritage Action for America, we're going to explore the ways in which our southern border remains insecure and poses a major national security risk. While the Biden administration has had nearly 2 years to work with their party's congressional majority to fix our nation's border, not much progress has been made. More than 2 million illegal aliens have crossed our borders this year alone. A record 800 have died trying, and about 90 people stopped by border agents had ties to terrorism. And that doesn't even include all of the migrants that got to the interior of the country and then committed crimes. Despite the ongoing crisis, the Democratic Party, led by Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, have been plowing ahead with other priorities, looking to hold on to the respective legislative majorities in November. As Americans' frustrations with the crisis rise, congressional Republicans have rolled out their Commitment to America agenda, a plan that closely resembles former House Speaker Newt Gingrich's Contract with America of 1994. In this plan, securing our nation's borders, combating illegal immigration, increasing public safety officers, and defending America's sovereignty from all enemies, foreign and domestic, are at the top of the list. The open borders is unquestionably on the November ballot. Over this next hour, we'll be joined by leading security experts like Border Agent Union President Brandon Judd, candidates in border states like Arizona's Blake Masters, and the former Secretary of the Homeland Security Department, Chad Wolf. As always, and in concert with our partners at Heritage Action for America, we are committed to delivering the facts and then let you make up your own mind. Now, our first guest tonight has over 25 years of experience in the immigration and homeland security space. She's worked at the Department of Homeland Security on policy, and most recently as acting Deputy Chief of Staff. Lora Reis joins us from the Heritage Foundation in her capacity as their Director of Border Security and Immigration Center. Lora, so great to have you on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me on, John.
I want to start with something our Vice President said just a few days ago. There seems to be a disconnect between what Americans see with their eyes and what the Biden White House says. Take a listen to this.
The border is secure, but we also have a broken immigration system, in particular over the last 4 years before we came in, and it needs to be fixed.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration. But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix, given the deterioration that happened over the last 4 years.
Laura, I want to ask 2 things. 1, is she giving an honest assessment? And 2, can they keep blaming the Trump administration for today's problems?
No, she's not giving an honest assessment. She seems to be hypnotized when she's saying the border's secure. It's not convincing in the least. And it's just yet another attempt by this administration to say, don't believe your lying eyes. They have now been in office almost 2 years, and they are breaking our immigration system. They have thrown the border doors completely open. And so to say they inherited a broken system is untrue. They inherited the most secure border we have had in decades. And yet they want to use the excuse of the prior administration to continue their very bad policies.
Yeah, it's remarkable. You were part of that team that created one of the most secure borders in American history. We had record low illegal migration at the end of the Trump presidency. Republicans now have several ideas in the Commitment for America to try to address this, to try to bring us back to the Trump era. Your thoughts on the new Commitment with America?
Well, we were pleased to see the Republicans come out with this Commitment to America. We definitely need strong conservatives in the next Congress to not just introduce legislation that will actually solve the problems we're facing, but to see those bills through to passage, and then to pressure the president to sign what will be a very reasonable bill if, in fact, he wants to solve the problem. It isn't just a matter of giving money to hire more Border Patrol agents. Those are certainly necessary. But it is also continuing the construction of the wall and technology that is needed between the ports, not just at the ports, as President Biden, as well as funding ICE sufficiently to work on interior enforcement. We're going to need a lot more detentions and a lot more deportations. And we need Republicans who are comfortable with that and aren't going to clam up once the left inevitably labels them a racist for talking about these policies that are so important to Americans.
Yeah, it really is. In fact, Heritage did a study just a few weeks ago. 61% of Americans believe we should go back to the Trump administration's policies. It seems like the Biden administration is literally driving into the headwind of Americans' will.
That's right. Americans want to feel safe in their communities, and they simply aren't. This issue of the open border policies collides with the defund the police movement, and Americans see crime rising all over, whether that is from gotaways who have crossed that border during this administration, or other serial criminals who see that there just aren't consequences if they commit more crime. Even if they get arrested and are detained, they're going to be quickly released. And then they go on to commit more crime. So lack of consequences endangers Americans, not just in the immigration context, but also in the public safety context.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. And you've got fentanyl coming in because the drug cartels have really complete control of the border. 100,000 plus Americans in the last year poisoned to death by that extraordinary chemical. And then you have these other tragic episodes. You see a dad in Florida murdered by the young person he took in. They thought he was a teenager, turned out to be an adult. Deputy sheriff being killed, crashes killing people. In the interior of America now, people are really feeling the impact of this illegal immigration wave, aren't they?
They are, unfortunately. And what people see on the limited media that covers the border are women and children mostly getting off the buses that are being transported around the country. What people aren't seeing are the military-aged men dressed in head-to-toe camouflage, carrying very full backpacks, sneaking across the border. But some game cameras are catching images of them, and they are crossing day or night. They do not want to be caught. We have to assume all of them have ill intentions given how they are crossing. And that is what is resulting in the 100,000 plus overdose deaths of Americans due to drugs, particularly fentanyl, but also terrorist threats and these serial criminals who then go on to kill, such as the deputy in Florida. These are needless crimes and deaths. These people should not be here, and therefore their victims should still be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely avoidable crimes. Lord, we got about 45 seconds left. Just real quickly, everyday Americans, they sometimes feel overwhelmed. Now, this is Washington's problems, but this is an election where the grassroots of America can make a difference. What's the message that you have for Americans who want to fix this border?
They need to be loud and every day to their elected officials at every level, local, state, and government, and keep applying pressure to shut down this border, to defund the Biden administration's processing of illegal immigrants into this country, and to secure that border and secure Americans' lives and our sovereignty as a nation.
Yeah, well, Lora, the work you do at Heritage is amazing. Everybody should go out and check the Security and Immigration Center out. Chock full of great facts and policy solutions. Great to have you on the show to kick us off tonight.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, the former Secretary of the Homeland Security Department, Chad Wolf, will be joining us. He has a lot to say about that border, the way it used to look and the way it looks now, right after this.